Nagatad.
Now until the break of day, through this house each family stray. Trip away, make no mistake, meet me by the break of day. To the best right bed will we, which by us shall blessed be.
As a 6-year-old, I started to type on a computer. We didn't have a computer. I remember being seated in this tiny room at a beige-colored box with its black screen and one small rectangle flicking on and off in the upper left-hand corner awaiting its directive, its green flicker begging for words, numbers, or a prompt, slowly antagonizing the user, me. I remember dreading going to that small, hot, busy room when I was younger and being told what to do. Being told to plug in a series of letters, numbers, pluses, and minuses. If you did it wrong, it wouldn't work. This wasn't open-ended technology like art. This wasn't expressive. Where were all the paint tubes, the excitement, the freedom? I visited my dad's house and he was so excited to show me this computer. I wasn't really aware how to use it other than for word processing at this point. I spent a lot of time with my dad logging into his AOL account with dial-up. That sound, like music, but like the hum of the beige block computers, lacked harmony and rhythm. That sound I will never forget. The tune forever ingrained into my memory and will never be experienced by the future generations. Eventually, my mom gave in and bought me a Nintendo system. The 8-bit graphics and sound all seem so basic and flat when I think about it now, but back then were state-of-the-art, new, and amazing. I was the envy of all my friends. I created my first email account at my dad's. I still have this account, bxxxxx@aol.com. I remember sitting and choosing my email address. I thought that in the future people would remember that, and here I am today, looking back at 9-year-old B saying, "Great job." It's funny to think of how email addresses can define your persona just as much as your looks and your job title can. If I had gone with my clever mango idea, would my life have turned out the same? Would I have walked the same path? What kind of bee would I be today? I want to teach myself, my family, and my students how to not be dependent and how to see the world around them through their eyes first, develop questions, and then perhaps prompt an AI to ask it questions rather than to let this technology rule them. I want my son to grow up unattached to a phone. Today, I feel there is a duality to my relationship with technology. I feel that society is so dependent on it, especially post-pandemic. I want to teach myself, my family, and my students how to not be dependent and how to see the world around them through their eyes first, develop questions, and then perhaps prompt an AI to ask it questions rather than to let this technology rule them. I want my son to grow up unattached to a phone. I am not saying to rid myself of technology, nor not to utilize it. I am saying to approach it with awareness and teach others the importance of human existence and partnership, especially in terms of relationships with each other. 2, if at all possible, have a meeting in person rather than on Zoom. To not be distracted by your phone and doom scrolling, TikTok, and social media. To take a step away for a few hours a day or a week. This is the duality. You need to find the line you are going to draw, the relationship you want to have with technology. And then you need to bring that knowledge forward in ways of knowing ethics, usage, and not diminishing brain power, but rather partnering to foster learning. Thinking back to the warm hum of the small closet in school to my high-tech lab from where I write today, things change. And rather than fighting, avoiding, and remaining uneducated, I will embrace, learn, and know that I am growing from it to teach others.
I remember learning how to use a computer in elementary school. It was massive, and inserting the floppy disks was awful because they only partially went into that little slot correctly on the first try. The graphics were horrible, but the printing capability was excellent then. There were only 6 computers in the library. Each student would take turns in a typing lesson. What I remember most is that it was a timed program and it was graded. I never received an excellent grade at typing. The fact that I was being timed was bothersome to me. I want to know how much ICT has contributed to my intellectual development. We only had a computer at home when I was well into high school. It was a dial-up service and took forever to connect. We never had one-to-one devices growing up in school, not even when I was in college. The only software I remember using on my home computer was a Wheel of Fortune game. The computer was a privilege to have. My father worked hard to afford it. No one in my household had experience with it, so I am a self-taught learner. I only received my first personal laptop in 1999 when I started my first job. I was over the moon with excitement. The only clear memory of the computers that I had in my classroom in the early 2000s were these. And my first personal computer looked like these. I never received formal training and made my own how-to, step-by-step guides to assist me with computerized tasks. I did not have a social media of any sort. It is just a Yahoo email address that I proudly still have today. Sure, I used a computer to type my college papers, but that was my first interaction with the systems. I did not shop or browse the internet. All my research was done at the college library, rifling through the card catalog and reviewing micromesh for data to collect and add to my papers. My favorite was printing birthday banners on massive strips of perforated white paper with holes on both sides. Even when the computer was not working, I would still use that paper to color signs with my crayons. Although my father was an architect, he only had a computer many years later. I learned more about computers from home than ever from school, sharpening my critical thinking and problem-solving skills. I hope to show students how to use AI technology appropriately. I want them to explore the many tools out there and find the ones that work best for them. Then I want them to keep exploring even more, because the AI I saw 2 years ago is radically different than the AI I am working with today. Now, if we can just get our tech department and the powers that be on board. I have been asking for AI teacher training for the past year and am still waiting to receive feedback. I often think about putting together a presentation of the benefits of AI in the classroom. I can see how I would lay out the lessons I would incorporate and build upon. But I have been asking for AI teacher training for the past year and am still waiting to receive feedback. Both books that I read for this class and the guidance that both professors put forth have shown me that with education on the positive outcomes of AI, students should be exposed to the information so that they learn to use it ethically. I was not a fan when Hey Google did not respond to me adding items to my grocery list. Or if it did respond, it would sometimes record the wrong item. My kids would tell it to add random things to the grocery list, like, "Hey Google, add Whitey Tidies to the shopping list." They would get such a kick out of the voice reading Whitey Tidies back to them. Nowadays, toddlers have some screen devices to keep them entertained. I had grass, sticks, rocks, and dirt in my backyard. I had neighborhood friends, and we were always outside. I worry about how technology has changed my growing up mentality, especially with all the problems social media creates. Here I am at a high-achieving school district, and they all but swept the entire concept of AI training under the rug. Well, that was my perspective. Perhaps there will be some AI training on the PD itinerary this year. Hopefully, someone will allow students to access AI. As I reflect on the continuity of my past experiences, present practices, and future aspirations, I want to maintain what I have always believed is essential. I want to embrace every learner and guide them to be productive members of society. I want them to feel safe to learn and ask questions. I went from someone who did not want to deal with all that the tech world was throwing at me. It was just too overwhelming. I have grown and changed over the years, and I am still growing and changing. That is what being a lifelong learner is all about. I want to keep my students learning as well by introducing them to AI while in the classroom, not just them exploring on their own without any guardrails, as Salman Khan said in his book. Kids need parameters and guidance to grow. Khan also mentions AI won't replace you, but someone using AI will. As I reflect more on my engagement with information and communication technology and AI, I feel confident after taking this class. I was always on the team embracing AI at a tech conference. So many educators were in attendance who were team ban it. They feared that AI would take their job. I do not see AI taking over education. AI is meant to be a teaching assistant, something to make our already busy days easier. This will surely be a process, as new technology is constantly evolving. With this evolution, there will always be hiccups and successes. I looked at the smartphone that I had never wanted. Now, I cannot imagine what I would have done without it. I use it for everything: asking questions, checking the weather, communicating, shopping, recipes, and the all-important family calendar. I have always wanted to learn more about anything and everything. I want to continue to encourage my students to have that same curiosity. In synthesizing my past, present, and future, I understand my curricular biography well. I have a draft of a blueprint in my mind and on my computer, emphasizing the importance of curiosity, ethical considerations, and continuous learning in my ICT and AI journey. As I continue on my journey, I am committed to fostering an innovative, inclusive learning environment that reflects the ever-evolving technology landscape.
Trip away.